especially a clash between these two absolute mad lads. We've got a guy who loves raiding and a guy that loves full-on device sending it. 3D Clans B up against LucifroN and BO3. And we've got Dry Arabia, Bridges, and Holy Island. Winston, I want 3 games. I need 3 games. I need Holy Island between these two because LucifroN is a madman. Like, Lucy and Vortex are still considered to be the best at Holy Island for good reason. But
Yeah.
B's creativity is the thing that can usually give him these wild curveballs, even in those situations.
I completely agree. I feel like we're about to see B play Bridges with Delhi, and I cannot wait to see what he's devised. There's probably some way of walling and getting the sacred sites that I just can't wait to see. So, yeah, looking forward to that. But before that, we have Dry Arabia, Sean Dark versus Chinese. So not versus Chushi's Legacy, right? A little different matchup. A little bit different.
So, B's been doing something a bit weird, Winston.
Uh-oh.
You know how everyone's all about that TC boom life? You know, they're all about getting your hands on enough sheep and dropping the TC in a good location. B likes scouts. He likes a certain thing that scouts can do. And I'm wondering if he's going to try it here against a Civ like Jeanne d'Arc, because I've watched him try it against all kinds of heinous Civs. Right now, B is one of like 2 or 3 players that does pro scouts. At this point, in the top 100 players, B probably equates for about 65% of games that use pro scouts.
Interesting. So pro scouts with China. Yeah, I mean it makes sense. It's solid. It brings a lot of food right to your mill where you can get lots of food income from that, and it's supervised. You're not getting as many taxes from that food, but you're getting way more food, right? So it's really solid. I think back when pro scouts was like the meta in every game, China was really good with it. It was really impressive what they were able to do with that. So I'm not surprised to see it still have some sort of form here, and I'm excited to see if B tries it here. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's like if this was any other player and Pro Scouts was even semi-viable, I'd be like, no, because you're against Jeanne d'Arc, right? Like if you go Pro Scouts, they see it, they move Knights out, they move Jeanne out, you're feeding XP. But I think like B, he's got some very interesting timings, and also, you know, you mentioned that supervision and taxation. The other thing is you can supervise to get extra scouts out, right? So you can ramp up your timing quite aggressively. You can even supervise to get your hands on the text quicker, right? So that's another interesting element there that makes China quite spicy. I'm curious to see what Lucy's approach is going to be, though. I feel like the best approach to dealing with this strat, if you know it's coming, is going to be 1 TC all in. What I'm worried about is if Lucy thinks this is your standard 2 TC song, he's probably going to go for a second town center. And that would give an advantage to B.
Yeah, but we'll see. LucifroN is still exceptional at adapting, so I wouldn't be surprised if B does something tricky, if LucifroN is able to just easily adapt and figure it out, right? I'd be surprised if he gets caught off guard by a strat and then loses because of that. All right, I feel like it'd have to be a little bit more, right? But let's dive in.
Let's get to it. Game number 1. We kick off on Dry Arabia. 3D Clans B will be whipping out the Chinese. Meanwhile, to the north side, it's going to be LucifroN in the yellow, playing as the maiden herself, Jeanne d'Arc. A pick that, admittedly, hasn't been making it through too many drafts prior to the main event here, but we're second series in, and a second series that actually gets it through the ban phase.
Yeah, it's interesting. Getting these top picks and contested picks to the ban phase, always interesting, but it is the round robin, right? So I feel like players might be just drafting on comfort rather than for players at this stage, right? Just play what you know, make sure you get the Sibs that you can play, and focus on banning what you're worst against. So maybe that just means B is feeling confident against Jeanne d'Arc in any matchup, at least confident enough not to, prioritize it as a ban, right? Interesting thought.
I don't think it's without its counters. Like, the thing is, like, for all this talk of Jeanne OP, I think Jeanne is sitting somewhere between, like, B and A tier. She's definitely not S tier. She might slot into A tier. She has some flexi. I think she's decent on the map rotation. But there's good Civs to deal with her, right? Admittedly, one of the best Civs to deal with her, like the Ottomans, they don't get through. Like, Ottomans is by far going to be the most banned Civ by the end of this tournament. But I do like Chinese. Rus, Rus. So to me, like, Rus isn't the best on any map, but they have too much Omniflex. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets through in BO3s, maybe? Actually, no, I'd say BO3s will get banned the most. BO5s is where it might slip through, because I think in longer series, they're a bit more of a handcuff Civ. But when you only need to win 2 games, it's just like, let me just throw out my strong cards. Here's Delhi, here's Mongols, here's Rus, right? And you just immediately tick the box. But another little kind of hot take is I think when we get into these longer series later in the tournament, Abbasids aren't actually going to look weak. That's where they'll look good.
Interesting.
I'm all about the hot takes today.
That's I mean, pretty lukewarm. I wouldn't say that was like boiling hot. You didn't scorch it. You didn't burn your mouth on it.
I mean, everyone put it as everyone on the tier list at the moment are putting it bottom, like absolute trash tier, right?
Yeah, a lot of people are, right? Didn't LucifroN just do that?
I think it was, Vortex.
Like
so
yesterday.
Vortex literally just done a tier list where he put Basses as D tier and he put Order the Dragon as S tier. But funny thing about LucifroN and Vortex is because they basically scrim in a vacuum, if one of them does a tier list, you can pretty much almost guarantee the other has similar views on it. So I think when we saw the draft, LucifroN funnily enough didn't pick the Dragon. So I'm wondering if he's going to pick it later on in the group stage. But for now, on the opening, we are going to see Imperial Academy coming out. This was kind of wild to me, actually. Imperial Academy recently got buffed. It now has that 30% discount on the cost of the taxmen. Wild buff to essentially what was the go-to landmark already for the Chinese, because the only time we see Barbican first is when you're forced to do it.
Yes. Sorry, I missed that. I missed that. Recon just messaged me. I got distracted. I shouldn't look at that. Sorry,
don't talk to that Crash
Discord.
Panda. Okay, he's telling you Bassids is OP. I guarantee. I know what Recon's like. Okay, so it's just saying, like, Imperial Academy literally just got buffed, right? It was already built first in 80% plus of Chinese games. Now, it's wild the implications it has. Now it's going to be built like 90% plus games. But the other thing is, although it seems like not much of a buff, like overall you're saving the cost of one Imperial official, it's the ramping that matters a lot. Exactly. Especially if this is going to be something like a Pro Scouts build that we theory crafted before. In fact, can we just check if B... Is he saving for it? No, I don't think we're going to get it this game. No, go on the mill. I don't think we didn't miss Pro Scouts coming. No.
It's a lot of gold at that.
I mean, he's got a lot of gold coming in.
Well, it's just there's a lot of gold. There's a lot of taxes there, right? It's usually expect players to like grab it faster, but I don't think he cares right now, right? Like he doesn't need it. He's got his setup going. So early Song Dynasty, no Prof Scouts just yet on the table for B, as you might have been predicting, but LucifroN going to be going to that stone for the TC.
They would be poor scouts in a game like this, right? Like we already highlighted, it would be very brazen to do. And also the issue now is if LucifroN's going for a TC, he's going to look to drop on the deer stack. Check the right side of his starting wood line. He got double deer plus berry drop. Like honestly, at this point, I'm pretty sure LucifroN's dad owns Activision or something. I don't know. Microsoft probably. Yeah,
that TC will be really nice with the double deer for sure. But I mean, I really like B's base for China, right? You have a really comfortable backside to boom in by the stealth forest. You got 2 safe stone mines. You have 1 gold, which is enough. You even have another safe gold and a relic in the back there. I mean, LucifroN's map is also very good, but for B, who might be expecting to play a little passive in the early game, pretty solid.
Yeah, and I like the Barbican placement. What? Who's B? Was B investing in?
What is B gonna go for here? He's not.
I think you just go for maybe a few spears, and then you go into a second TC, right? Because you need spears to push this away. So, like, I loved his Barbican placement because a lot of players would have dropped the Barbican on the deer instead, but then they wouldn't have secured the flank of their base. So what I think he's looking to do here, you drop Barbican, and then you rush out onto the south side with spears, and you push this knight out, and then you wall that gap between the two tree lines, and now LucifroN doesn't have a way in.
Yeah, we'll see. I think, I guess it has to be Spearman, right? Yeah, you have to, like, secure your way out. I mean, yeah, against Jeanne d'Arc, you just can't go and build that in a random spot because her timings can be really fast. Ooh, LucifroN there, looking for the damage. The scout goes down, which is actually pretty big. Meaning he's going to be blind for a bit, might re-queue another scout just for the vision here, so the knights can be effective.
This is like one of... Wait, dude. LucifroN... we didn't clock this, right? He teched up with more villagers, so Jean's still level 1.
Interesting.
He's going for a full eco build.
Yeah, that can be a strategy just to have the extra villagers, right? When you upgrade Jean, you're basically killing a vill, right? You're -1 vill for the effectiveness, and if you're not thinking you're going to get a lot of value on the map, and if your opponent is playing Chinese, for example, in this case, it's not likely that they're going to be able to go out on the map with like knights or something to get boar.
Winston, I love this. Remember when I was nerding out about keeping the aura nearby to build faster?
Oh, yeah, I see.
Yup, he moves out with Jean towards the deer pack, and now he can keep her in range to give the build aura. Look at that, 33% faster build speed. And it means you're going to be a lot quicker to the second TC than China.
Yeah, I can give you an advantage there, but China already has songs, so they're already up a vill or two now that you've killed one, right?
Yes,
so actually...
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I was going to say...
No, actually,
like,
6 vills.
Remember some of those Imperial officials though, right? So can we do an Imperial official check? I imagine he's at 3 right now, especially considering how cheap they are.
3, yeah.
Yeah.
The 4th on the way. Yep.
Yeah, so he's
right
3
there.
villages ahead in reality.
I see.
And it's less than that originally because it's always the annoying thing that people have to remember is like when you upgrade, you mentioned already, when you upgrade Jean d'Arc, you lose a villager, right? So it's like you see this weird build between the two where it's like, how the hell is he 6 villages ahead? That's how.
And I mean, B's also been playing really solidly, like defending with the spears. These knights really have not gotten any meaningful value other than forcing there to be spearmen and maybe a bit of attention from B, but it doesn't seem to be that tricky. But Jean d'Arc coming forward now herself, but there's going to be a wall kind of in that front spot. We talked about that. If that wall can go up, then this TC is going to be relatively safe.
The Knights have no way to go now because of the Barbican and the wall, so the Spearman will clear that up. Love this, by the way. Going Jean the Hunter. We are 2 series in, 2 Jean picks, and a 100% pick rate for the Hunter form.
Jean de Beau. Get it? Because she has a bow.
Yeah, I think I can follow that. Well done.
Yeah, it was a really cool joke. You needed to see my face. Never mind. Moving on. There was a point to that. Never mind. There wasn't.
You know, before people knew what to do with this, I called it Jean de Punter because they were just randomly guessing.
I don't. Okay.
There you go. You feel better about your joke now. You know what a punt is, right? That's not just a British thing.
Like to kick?
Yeah, you take a punt, right? Like taking a punt is like it's like, you know, you're just taking a shot, like, but it's meant to. I can't believe I'm trying to explain this deeper. It's basically just trying to say like there's no calculation behind it. It's like you're just taking like a bet.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
Don't worry. This is how we get control of the American nation again, is we teach them British slang.
Oh boy.
So this feels really bad. Turns out that the weakness, of course, of Jean de Hunter is walls.
Walls. One pesky wall. You know, we'll see. I mean, very passive state for the game right now. Players just going to be chilling, booming until something happens. I'm curious if LucifroN is going to try and keep applying pressure. He's got a lot of knights in queue. So it looks like he's identified this wood line as a weakness. And he wants to keep applying pressure there, but there's no real reason B needs to stay at this angle on the wood line. He has a wall up on the one on the south. He could go to the wall all the way on the east side of his base, right?
Yeah, but what you have to remember is, like, if he does that, what was he doing with the villages that come out the primary TC, right? So that's the logic for him, is all the
taking a hike.
Huh?
They're going for a walk.
Yeah, and you know what? They don't like walking. And I always like to use Mr. because he has the best quote ever for this. If they're working, they're not walking. If they're walking, they're not working.
Indeed.
And with China, they got to be working, okay? So yeah, like it's why he's keeping them here, because realistically, the only other thing they could be gathering from the primary TC is gold. And he's already got what he needs.
Pop tower coming in for B. Interesting. I guess I don't know if he's gonna use it right away. Maybe 1B. That's to B for B. I don't see him really making a lot of
like a mascot.
Yeah.
For B.
Why not?
I don't think it's, despite the clock tower being played, I don't think it's time for him to come out yet, right? I think you just want to build more spears, build a lot of villages. You might even just stay in here until you've got granaries.
Yeah, but pretty soon LucifroN can start shoring up the boar if it's too passive of a play from B, right? It's going to be down the wood line here with the age up. The Hills ducking into the TC just in time.
Spearmen are being sniped, but it's just too difficult once you're going to get in range. And it's also problematic. LucifroN, he doesn't even gamble on hanging around because remember, the Chinese, they can supervise their upgrades, right? So the window is much smaller against this Civ than any other one in the game.
This is such an awkward wood line to fight around, and LucifroN's just going to go for the dive again.
Go find a villager. Garrison
He's just
inside the
going.
GC, but I mean, he's just going to keep diving deep. The spin count is not looking great. It's going to be a bargain used to push this way. Now, that is double hand cannon fire, so LucifroN is going to show some respect here. But a little bit of a pricey dive. Divine Restoration will keep you around longer. He has at least outed out the wood, but the food is still accessible, and now we are seeing Palace Guard being pumped.
Yeah, the Palace Guard spam is going to be pretty solid until... Well, I mean, you got a lot of knights on the field, so it'll be good, but it's not going to like really change the state of the game here, right? Until you have a lot of crossbows to match, and there, yeah, crossbows as well. So crossbow Palace Guard will be how B is able to defend. Will be how B is able to defend. That's not the right way to frame that, but I said it that way. It was fun.
Moving swiftly on. So yeah, it's the Palace Guard
There's just a lot of the
crossbows.
word B. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's I love that challenge. Like, what was it? I can't remember what scene it is. There's a scene that has a player called Player. Have fun with that when you're casting.
Oh yeah.
The player, you just sound like you're stuttering. There's a few chips in here. I like the fact that LucifroN's trying to farm XP. He's trying to get what I call the Castle Age Light, right? Which is level 3 Jean. And until B has enough of these Palace Gun crossbows, he's not trading efficiently. In fact, the big part of why he's going to that comp instead of going Spear Crossbow is because he'd be giving free XP over. Whereas Palace Guard, as your frontliner, just has more effective HP than the alternative. Oh, well, that was a bit questionable.
Yeah, I think he looked away thinking his units weren't chasing there. Rough engagement there for B, but I think, yeah, he's in a solid spot. He's got a nice 10-vil lead, just about. Feeling
feel
confident
good
with Song.
Do you feel good with a 10 eco lead, though, in this type of game?
I mean, you were later to the TC, right?
Yeah.
And
It's
you
just
still have a real lead. I mean, he doesn't know that, right? But
So, one thing I'm keeping an eye on here is the fact that, like, if LucifroN keeps probing and he keeps scaling this night count, I don't think it's going to be Guildhall. I think it's going to be Raw Institute. And that's when you just, like, you leapfrog, right? You're no longer matching Castle. You're playing Imp Light with the Raw Bloodlines, Canton Saddles, and whatnot. And then you also start talking about relics, sacred sites that would even up this gap.
yeah, but that's if he gets to Castle soon, and he has the income to do so. But as long as he keeps pumping 3 nights at a time, it's not really going to be looking that good for him. This one might be in a... I don't know how to say this. I feel like he might be over-investing into Feudal here. Like, I think he might need to just go Castle soon, right? Like,
I'm not convinced yet. Remember, like, look at the timer. The thing that I always try to imprint in my brain when I'm watching Jeanne d'Arc is I'm not just looking at the 3 and the 2 at the top here, right? I'm looking at the clock, and I'm like, we're actually, like, maximum 4 minutes away from level 3. In this game right now, we're probably 3 minutes away from level 3, Jeanne. And that's when you have, like, a decent solution to start poking again, right? The Archer form is actually quite surprisingly effective. His damage output as a cavalry form is quite high. So it's going to allow you to keep trading. And as soon as I highlight it, man.
a hero has fallen.
A little bit of an overextension there. Obviously,
Bought back immediately, gonna delay the Castle Age even more.
250 gold.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, not that that's a mistake. It's just, you know, you gotta. It's another price there. That was an expensive mistake.
It was.
To lose her in the first place, right?
Yeah, but like, and the thing is, it's the reason why he buys back straight away. You can't miss this timing. If you want to be in control of this game, you need level 3 ASAP.
This might be too early for B to push out.
Oh my god.
I guess he's thinking Jean's not here.
Exactly. The crossbows are going to get targeted though. Knight with a recycle. LucifroN moves to the back side of this. And that's exactly what he needed to strike out. Archer's also diving past this, looking at the crossbows. Jeanne has now arrived. So this is about to turn into an XP farmer. Night count getting a little bit low, but the crossbow count looking depressing at this stage. So keeps enough of them alive. Will cycle charge behind onto the Palace Guard. And I'm a bit worried, actually, that B doesn't have enough staying power here, and there's too much XP going the way of LucifroN.
Yeah, and there's tier 3. Jeanne the Hunter grows, and there's the champions being called in. And yeah, like, I thought his position was fine, but then he moved out and took a fight without his defenses, without this choke point, and he just got run over by that many knights. Maybe he was not expecting that many knights, but on the flip side, he did get the chance to churn away a lot of that army from LucifroN. He got to chip away at the numbers. There's only 6 knights now, and LucifroN is still not able to click up to Castle Age. And with only 6 knights, maybe B is feeling a bit more confident, because if that number was still 20, this castle timing would be even scarier. So maybe that was the right call from B, even though it was kind of a losing trade. Just the fact that the numbers have kind of reset there for LucifroN on the knight front might be what he needed.
And that nest of bees was clutched, by the way, by B. That's the thing that pushed him back. LucifroN was getting ready to continue the dive. That pushed him away because the archers got low. So really good timing there by B to stop the flood through. LucifroN is now macroing up. We are going to see Castle Age on the horizon. Rule Institute, yeah, it has to be. Like, with the way that he's floating so much food, the way he's playing the map, it's all about reaching your version of Imperial before the Chinese realize theirs. If you play a long con game and you think about Guildhall, you're saying it's going to take 8 more minutes at least. And 8 more minutes would mean full farms for the Chinese and late game unlocked.
Yeah, full farms for the Chinese are basically there, right? Like, behind this B's macro has been really solid. Now the Vil lead is up to almost 20.
He's running out of gold though. Wait, LucifroN?
22.
Okay, there we go. A little bit greedy taking the berries here. There were other options.
Yeah, when you think he had map control, but he aged up right behind that, right? So he didn't want to take a fight to protect them. And Jean d'Arc at half health took some hits there. Maybe
he
wasn't looking.
Jean d'Arc at heart runs away.
Anyways.
Let me just heal that off. Oh no, half health, better Divine Restoration. So this is really important, by the way, because B needs to get out of his base. Gold's a problem. He's exhausting the gold way too quick. Royal Bloodline's been queued up. Villagers, what the hell? What? LucifroN, did he accidentally select them with the army there? Divine Restoration is going to come out. He's looking to snipe the back line.
Oh my gosh, these SCPs just changed the game.
Down?
Oh,
what the heck just happened? The upgrades aren't in. He's got all this expensive techs and he just fought over this gold. Why this gold mine?
Because he's trying to gold starve B, but this was too early. I mean, like B, it's not like he's going to drop a castle immediately the moment you walk away. Maybe you're paranoid about that. We have God vision, you don't, right? But like, I think he just rushed this timing and gave away a very strong window for himself. Royal Bloodline's going to be less impactful. Now you've got to wait for Jean to come back because with all these upgrades, you can't afford to spend 500 gold. And B, if you check the gold vein in the back of his base, it's got to be down to like, what, 1.2k? He needed this at this very moment.
It just ran out. We just heard it run out. You can see all the Vils now moving out to the front. A huge herd of Vils are running through green space right now. That'd be funny to look at. That's a lot of Vils. If they ain't walking, they're working. Oh man.
Like a lot
We're talking about B's base. But yeah, doesn't matter. The fight's coming in.
LucifroN's delaying it. Candle Saddles, Royal Bloodlines just came in.
Like, he could lose this army and he won't care anymore, right? As much, right? Like, he's got a huge Vil lead. Oh.
Villagers, wait, what? What is going on in this game?
He's pulling them. He's pulling them to torch. He needs this.
Villagers going around the back. The Nest of Bees can flurry at a short range here. Knights are going to just jump on in, but LucifroN throwing away both his arms and legs to try and keep himself alive here. Knobs on the backside, still hitting up the Archer Mass. And the repair crew keeps them alive. I think this is it. LucifroN, a few villagers in the wrong place at the wrong time is all B needed to close game 1 out.
To quote a player for whom I have a lot of respect for, don't mess with the bees. Don't mess with the bees. He messed with bees, and now he knows what's up. That is crazy.
Hey man, you know, Mr. Prep me for if you're walking, you're not working. If you're working, you're not walking. But what if you're not walking, but you're dead? You're not working either. Those eco losses.
He got stung bad. Don't mess with the bees, man. That was crazy. Okay, so the one on the gold mine, it looked like it was done, that the massacre was over, and then like 2 more Vils at the end just toppled over. And I feel like that was like just so final. Like, oh man, that was crazy. That was crazy. So a couple of those really interesting moments, right? I think we have to like think back on and highlight, right? Was think about that first one, right? When Jean died there, that delayed the whole castle age up. I think that was a pretty big deal. It then enabled B to take a fight and trade down the night numbers, even though it wasn't a great fight for him. Jean wasn't there, which made it a great fight for him, right? And then Jean did show up and clear it out a bit, but then he's still not Castle Age. It took him even longer and longer because he had to remake the Knights to not die to the Palace Guards, and then we saw what happened after that. That next fight looked like it would be maybe rough for B, but those two Nesta Bees just did so much damage. Just so much damage.
I think this is also the issue of trying to go range form Jean, is like against this Civ, it's one of the hardest Civs to do it against. I know we already watched it actually succeed in an earlier series, right, with Louis versus the Chuganu as well. But the difference in that game is that there's usually I don't think they eco escalate as well as the Chinese anymore, in my opinion. So like the difference is that you aren't pressured to dive the base the same way that LucifroN tried there, and it means you get risky on positioning there. And it wasn't even Master Chuganu that killed him, right? It was just a handful of crossbows. It shows you just how squishy this unit is at that early phase of the game. Admittedly, would have died quicker if it was women at arms, but the rough part in that game for me is LucifroN playing the berries there felt like it was unessential, but the reason is like he could have played Deer on the left side of B's base, but obviously he was directing his attention towards that right side because he wanted to leak into the farms. Just a well-played game by B, though. Like, he struck at the right moment just as the goal was being exhausted. And the Nesta Bees, dude, the clock tower element of them is what makes them infuriating. The reason why range form Jean looks so much better in the last game, even if we got deeper into that castle age for LucifroN, he wouldn't have had the damage output on John to kill Siege, right? Because of the clock tower extra health. It's what makes China much better than Zhuji in that matchup. But speaking of Zhuji, we are going to get Holy Island, even if it ends up being a 2-game series. I'm hoping not. I hope we're going with the distance here. But this is a fun one, Winston. This map, meta used to be what? Rus before the Gremlin nerf, HRE, and Chinese. These new civs, the two that we're seeing here, actually do pack quite the punch.
Yeah, I mean, with double Rus ban, it kind of makes sense. And it's a bit surprising not to see HRE still on this map because it was so dominant for so long. And you would think not much really changed there, but I guess other civs have just elevated a bit in terms of how they can play water, or the meta has changed a bit to the point where this is the case. I'm really interested to see how LucifroN plays Japan. I'm getting a greedy vibe. I don't know about you. Are you just thinking greed, just pure greed with Japan?
No. You spam docks, right? You spam fishing, but you go early under Begisha. Early under Begisha and Horseman. Actually, probably Horseman here, right? Because Chuganu threat. It's really effective because you just are able to get more fishing boats out early. One interesting thing now that I'm looking at the ban phase that shocked me here, by the way, is the fact that LucifroN left. Oh, sorry, no, I think it's B left the Ottoman. No, LucifroN. Sorry, I remember the way the bans work. LucifroN left Ottomans available to B. And he didn't take it. He actually took Delhi instead. That was quite ballsy. So that's very telling. It was almost like LucifroN is pretty confident he has a solution to that Civ. Just something to keep in mind as we move forward in the future series. For now, we move into Holy Island, a map that has looked formidable for the Japanese so far.
Right.
Question is, how does it look for the Zhuji?
I mean, it could be the play with the Shinobi as well. We've seen that be very impressive on water maps before. Maybe LucifroN feels like the timing is still there for it, even with the changes, right?
It was such a hard nerf, though. Like it.
Yeah, like maybe it's still good enough. Like the dock is so exposed on this map.
I think the value in going for it is that if you go Shinobi, you follow up Horseman. The reason is like if your opponent builds spears to deal with that, you keep spamming Shinobi, right? And like it's not a bad way of trying to quickly deal with spears and then backing away. And then you still have agency to wrap with Horseman. Especially on a spawn like this. Check what's happened. We've got the forward spawning tree lines, which means B's probably going to end up going for, a tree cut already is doing it that's closer to the enemy base. It can leave you a little bit more exposed.
Interesting, yeah.
So dock drops on each side. LucifroN, so this is interesting actually because in this matchup, I love the kind of weird alterations we get between different civs. Zhuji get a quicker build speed on their docks, but Japanese get cheaper fishing boats. So like the weird dynamic you see here is like Zhuji will build small leads on fishing and then Japanese will build a lead in return because they're able to afford extra docks worth of production before the Zhuji. Where it's going to get interesting is how that pivots dynamic-wise. Like, are we going to see people try to sneak docks? Because that whole idea of Shinobi you talked about, one play I have seen some Japanese players do here is they will drop a dock near the enemy base because Shinobi allow them to do so.
Right, if you open with the township, right? Well, we'll see what the plan is here. I'm interested because I feel like there's a lot of minor variations that can go on in this game for the early game that'll have pretty major ramifications. So these small details that we're going to be seeing in the next couple of minutes, I feel like are going to matter a lot. You know, where's the dock going? How many docks? How many fishing boats do you invest in? It's, you know, on the surface level, it might not seem like that big of a deal, but it really does. Like, basically win or lose the game is these tiny macro.
Well, you know what? None of this detail matters. Apparently, we had a crash, so there's going to be a remake in a second.
F's in chat.
Yeah, I think we just pull back to the lobby now, and we'll talk a little bit more about the dynamics here as we prep for the other lobby. Happens. They're remaking right now, so it shouldn't take very long. Apologies for that, folks. But yeah, interesting. Like to now get a little bit more time to talk about this draft because the draft was quite funky. You mentioned no HRE, and I think the reason we didn't see any HRE is because if you were going to pick it, it would have been one of your last 2 picks, and the concern is that your opponent could pick Order of the Dragon. And if I'm not mistaken, by the way I'm reading this draft, I'm pretty sure LucifroN had final pick. So he could have went HRE. He would have been the one who'd been able to do it because if B goes HRE, LucifroN picks Order of the Dragon. But the reason why he didn't do it is with Bridges and Dry Arabia as your other 2 maps, HRE isn't that impressive. And you already have Japanese for Holy Island, right? So I think that's why we didn't see HRE at all. Typically, the way you draft this is like when you see a map like Holy Island, I think Holy Island quite often, one player is going to prioritize that, and the other is going to get something like Delhi or Mongols. So it's an interesting thing. I actually think that this is my favorite drafting of the history of AV4 so far. I really like this format, and I love the fact that we have enough civs that we're able to do this now.
Yeah, I think the number of civs has really opened up like how creative a TO can be with their setup, and I think that's good. Right, I think that's a very good thing, right?
Yes.
So we'll see.
Ooh, this might be a very good thing for the UG. This
Very
remake.
different game. Wow.
Yeah. The tree line difference. Welcome back, folks. We had to do a quick remake. There's a little bit of a crash. We're going to go again for game number 2. This best of 3 between B and LucifroN. B, of course, already getting an early point in the Chinese. Now he looks to get another point with a different Chinese. But the Japanese are a different matter in this matchup. A civ that actually on water or land can actually bring the Juji to their knees.
And we'll see how, right? We spend a lot of time theory crafting the early game already, so not really sure what more to say or think about, right? Like you could think about the Shinobi again, if that even is a huge threat here. I'm not sure. I guess LucifroN must be planning it. That's my only thought. I feel like that's the best play on this map.
I think you go Shinobi simply because you don't have as much use for Kura Storehouse because of all the deep water fish, right?
Like you just have the Shinobi, right? Like and you just try to get value.
If this was a map that didn't have that many deep water fish, if it was just shoreline fish, limited food, then I think Kura Storehouse makes more sense. Like I've actually even seen a few Japanese players going Kura Storehouse on 4 lakes, and I like it because there is going to come a point where you're going to reach your upper threshold of food income on water on those type of maps. This one, however,
right?
That yeah, you can also
wood.
Yes, I always love that. Like you highlight that. A few more players have started to like hone in on that. It saves you 50 wood. And also, what it does is it gets you towards wood sooner, which is very useful on water hybrid maps in particular.
Yeah, exactly. It can just help out in the mid game when you need it. When there's tons of natural food and you don't need the farms right away. Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a lot of different ways to think about it.
Do you remember when Maito theory crafted the whole Palisade wall strat? Do you remember this?
He did that. He did that a long time ago. Yeah.
And then no one bothered doing it. Like one player has, and I think that was Faye. And that was just because she didn't want to lose the farms. It might be the one way you can actually build it against the Mongols. Because, like, basically, for those who don't know, when you play Japanese versus Mongols, if you build Kura Storehouse, you might as well just said GG. Because you're just paying the Mongol player to come and kill your landmark farms. It's, like, really depressing.
Depends on where you put it, right? But yeah, no, definitely. It's tricky to keep the farms up against aggressive factions, you know, if they're there. But we'll see.
So, Juji on the other side of this, meditation garden locations. I'm looking for a good one, and I think the sad reality is like they can only get a lot of stone. Oh no, they can't. Oh my dude, come on, guys! It's a lot of stone, but it's still 50 gold as well.
Can you all 5 mines? I think you can, right?
Yeah, they nerfed the range, right? It went from was it 8 tower range to 7 tower range, but it'll still clip them. So yeah,
I think it can. Yeah. Oh no, it definitely can. Right.
Definitely. Yeah.
Definitely can.
Well, he can get the food. I think you just get, like, you want double gold. So if you can get, like, gold, if you drop it between the stone and the gold, you might still be able to clip this gold and then hit some of the food, which is jackpot. Because stone isn't as relevant here outside of naval arrow slits. That's, like, the only reason you want it.
Why does it say 3D Beal? Is that just his Steam name right now?
Yeah, well, he's had it for a while. I think it's maybe B on his deathbed, like, you know, his child came in, he's like, I will take your place, daddy, and it's actually not B, it's B the second.
Yeah,
maybe?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. It's just a 2.
He could have went with B Junior, it would have been clearer, but I think it's B the second.
I don't know.
I mean, bees
You're
don't
good.
live long lives, right? So it's believable. And it is on the way. We are getting the Cockatown ship. So this
Shinobi with
landmark...
8 vills too. He's rushing this in. He wants the ninjas, you know.
It's because you've got the fishing there, right? So like you can
Yeah,
afford to.
yeah.
It's the same logic we would see. So I wouldn't have been surprised if B done something similar. But one thing we have to be cognitive of here is that Coca Township got nerfed hard, really hard. You do not get that Shinobi straight away. You have to wait 23 seconds into your tech up, which is a big nipple cripple to your timings here on these water maps.
Well,
He got it.
Shinobi's going to be on the way shortly.
Okay, this is going to be busted. Yeah, so he's clipping 2 berry bushes. That's going to be, I think they put it down to 4 per, right? So 8 food. Then he's going to get 50 gold and 50... Oh, God, he actually hit it as well. 75 stone. Are you kidding me right now?
Well, 10% less if the scout stays around.
No, just stop. All right, hear me out. LucifroN spams Shinobis and sabotages it.
Just tries to burn it down.
Yeah.
Sabotage wouldn't disable the income, but yeah. I mean,
know,
the Shinobi burning it would. Slowly.
All right, so B has double dock, and this is the big nerf I talked about. Like, LucifroN's only got 1 Shinobi out. You need 4 to disable both these docks, and your opponent's already teched up. So, like, the only way you're doing this, and I'd love to see if that's the goal of LucifroN, is if you time a land and sea assault at the same time, right? So you move in, you beat the first ship, and then you sabotage the dock so he can't get new ones out.
An amphibious attack, if you will. We'll see if this works. By land and sea, he comes in. The spy and the sailor, they make their way down the coast.
I think what we need is a buff to Shinobi so they can get like a little boat and just row across.
That'd be so cute.
It would be adorable.
They're just like they're in like a little fishing boat. It can walk up and just like disable the dock. It can like become the enemy's color, a fishing boat, and hide in the ships.
You build your own Shinobi to counter them, and it's just like Shinobis chasing after other Shinobis in little boats.
But you know, you can disguise as like an enemy vill. You can
boat.
disguise as an enemy fishing
boat.
boat. Yeah. And you're just like in their group, and you're just like waiting. I'm here.
No, even better. We buff disguise so you can master be any unit. Could you imagine just disguising your Shinobis as demo ships? The fear of God in them.
Oh, he's blinking in. He's going after these Yugnu.
Yeah, don't blink or you might miss this fight. Shunshin, still
It's
available
kicked for
1, right?
20 damage.
And here's the problem: if you don't kill him, haha, he has nanotechnology. He's gonna start healing.
Nanotech?
It's nanotech, dude. Like we had the Wakandans with the Malians because we had the Warrior Scouts healing way too much.
God.
And now what we've got like Japanese cybertech. These guys are like from the... I'm trying to think of the appropriate anime for this actually at the moment in my brain.
You know how we were talking about in the previous series how meditation gardens isn't enough stone for a second TC?
Uh-huh.
I think at 75, that's probably good enough, I would argue.
Maybe. Or you just build arrow slits on the docks, right? And it's just the biggest freebie in the world.
A free arrow slits every minute or 2 minutes, whatever it is. That's so free. That's so crazy. That's a strong map spawn for the meditation gardens.
Yeah, I don't feel like we want to turn this into a 20-minute rant about why this usually shouldn't exist, but we can. Step 1 to getting me there is talking about meditation garden.
All right, well, the dock pressure's really kind of done. The scout goes down.
So both lost their scout. They're playing quite blind, but Shinobis have extra vision compared to other infantry, right? So he sees a bit more. There's the arrow slits. What a reasonable landmark that was. I'm a bit salty.
Yeah, I can tell.
Might be a free villager if it's quick enough. The problem is, are these the Springle ships, right? Are these Springles? Because he'll die really quickly if they are. Shin is trying to get out. Yeah, only one gets out there. That's an expensive loss. 120 resources down the drain.
Well, that was the free one. You don't know.
Ooh.
That could have been the free one.
So you're saying it's fine because I spent 600 resources to get this unit that I just lost.
Hey, oh, he's gonna blink into the wood line.
Oh, here we go. Wait, no. Not the village. Not the...
There's a herd villain there.
Taxman.
There is a herd
villain. Shivs out and dead.
Value.
But remember, Winston, this landmark was OP and needed to be.
Well, the timings on water rafts were ridiculous.
Agreed.
It was absurd. What
Agreed.
people were doing.
But you know, now they look legitimately like a fish out of water. They just don't do anything when it becomes land anymore. It's kind of sad.
For sure.
I always felt like it'd be cooler if the Shinobi could be built out of the castles later on in the game, right? Kind of like what Jean has with the champions.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that could be a way to do it.
Because they just don't exist at all, right? Like they literally get played in feudal age and then they disappear.
I've seen it work when you have a big mass of them and like, but it's awkward. It's very awkward.
That's like you've won the game of feudal, right?
Maybe.
I mean, maybe they still are there. And the reason that they've disappeared is that I just don't see them because they're good Shinobi. Anyway, LucifroN's on his way towards Castle Age, and B has kind of lagged behind in that department. This is a problem. A really big problem, actually. If this turns into Onabigisha spam, the Chiganu are not going to protect B. So he needs to start winning on the sea, and he needs to force LucifroN to recommit. The problem is you're up against one of the best players at playing land-sea maps, Holy Hunt in particular. And you aren't even at his economy yet.
Yeah, but there's 3 demos chasing there, and the only galley was pushed back. The gold is under pressure.
He's 100 short. He doesn't have what he needs. Naval arrow slits are on the way. He's finally going to invest there. Remember, the Japanese do get stone for free from the gold gathering, so that should reset him. And looks like he's already got one set up here, so B isn't going to be able to apply enough pressure on the sea, but the land is where he's succeeding.
Now LucifroN on a really awkward spot, going to train more ships without gold income right now as well, so even further behind there. That'll give B the time he needs. That'll give B the time he needs to, you know, have a decent castle timing in comparison. I didn't even see a market from LucifroN. No, he's not going to build that.
Nah, he's gold to gold. He's going to rush it here. And all this extra food isn't a bad thing, right? Because all the comps that you go for at the start of Castle Age require a lot of food. This game could either be stables or rats. I think because you've seen some Onabigisha, some Chiganu already, rather, you're probably leaning towards Mount Samurai. I think like you just want to have that tempo timing. But I always find when you've got infinite food, there's something very appetizing about Onabigisha.
I see. Makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
It's literally the Zerg factor, right? Like I think the interesting thing that I tried to do was Japanese is basically Zergling. Like if there was any civ in the game that for a StarCraft reference was Zerg, it's Japanese.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. They have a lot of really weak units that they can spam, especially the Bugeisha, Onabigisha.
Yeah, Bugeisha, Yumi, like even the way they play Mount Samurai, like it's all about that fast timing to get a lot of units out. Pressure coming in. Really Shaolin Monastery is complete. And remember, this map does have
demos.
Wait, traffic jam. Oh, this is the worst feeling when you're trying to get
no
hunt
galleys,
down here.
Though. There's no galleys.
Oh, dude, LucifroN peels off, but he needs a final hit here. He's going to have to sacrifice another. Now, keep in mind, this is good from B, but he now needs to rotate around the back because the arrow slits, he doesn't have enough boats to dive underneath the docks.
Yeah, not quite.
And confirmation is it's stable, so we've got Mount Samurai on the way.
It's a good play, I think. Yeah, they're going to be out really quickly. They can deal with the Juknu, and then they can apply pressure. That wood line is really, really exposed. The meditation garden on the left is exposed. There's a lot of openings there. It's interesting. He hasn't added another town center yet, which we thought he might have been able to with all that stone.
It was mainly
maybe he's saving for it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he made arrow slits, but maybe he'll do that now with the next bit of stone.
Possibly. I think the problem is like you can't afford extra food right now because you're building shallow monks. So like later on, I can kind of see it, but right now, like 200 food for each of these guys is so expensive. How is this Chiganu? Like, are you kidding me? This guy.
That's so funny. It's so annoying.
And you don't want to send your Mount Samurai to deal with. Oh no! Oh, Shaolin Monk's gonna get there first.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, the Shaolin Monk also just slaps.
Yeah, but you like drag it away, and then a Mount Samurai arrives, and then the little Shinto guy's like, "My hero." Okay, that Mount Samurai is no one's hero right now. I'm defecting. Please don't hurt me. It turns out they didn't speak Japanese.
Oh no. And down it goes. Yeah, that was a free knight giveaway from LucifroN, right? That's a bit sloppy, but I guess he got caught off guard by the flank there.
Yeah, like there wasn't any fight on water either, so I'm wondering if he's just looking somewhere else on the map. Maybe look at the Chiganu that was being annoying still. Dude, the fact that they both got arrow slits, I wonder how easy peasy this type of format would have been for the Japanese if it wasn't for the fact that the Juji got 3 stone outcroppings under a Medi Garden.
That's a lot of stone income. It's a lot of stone income.
And now LucifroN, he probably needs to get the Daimyo at this stage. Like you're in a Lancer fight. You already have an edge, but if you get the Daimyo with Uma Bannerman, it's such a one-sided fight.
How has he not killed that Juji yet? On the woodline. That feels so annoying.
It's like he just doesn't want to send one Mount Samurai over because of the timings, and it is kind of depressing me right now because I think he does keep attacking villagers when they run back.
And on the woodline though?
Yep, he killed another.
That's crazy. One Juno getting so much value.
Oh man, that guy is going to
a lot of action all over the map though.
Demo's coming in. B, dude, there's no way you get him that freely. It should slow B down a little bit, though, and I'm wondering if this is where LucifroN just tries to split and go to multiple locations. Shaolin Monk is going to be blocked there, but 2 relics have already been brought home for B. I think a third one is on the way. Have we got the melee tech upgrades yet? I feel like we should have level 2 by now, typically. But LucifroN's not spamming the stone, so it doesn't seem like he's even got Takara. Wow, yeah. So Mount Samurai with no melee tech is really surprising here when he's got that much stone being flooded.
Yeah, definitely has some options. Maybe he's saving it for the next tier, the TC, if he's already at the first tier.
I don't think he is. Like, surely you add in one Uma Bannerman at this stage, right? Like, can we check the Japanese TC? It's really important,
He
actually.
just scooted up the first
Okay, there
one.
we go. Yeah, so we've got confirmation. So, Uma Bannerman will be coming in soon, but it's not like LucifroN I want to, like, just call what it is. There's a missed macro, right? Like, quite a big one there. In fact, he's floating quite a lot of resources here. Oh, this is a rough fight. Shinto's trying to buy time, but the Samurai a little bit outnumbered, and Shinto's are going to go down. Well played B. Pulls away afterwards. Does at least keep LucifroN out in the gold, but kind of shows you how desperate the game's getting, right? He only has 1 relic. He's already exhausted the safe gold, and then after that, he's going to have to move to those central deposits or near the shorelines, which don't necessarily always feel safe. Fight on the sea, though. B is being pushed back, and LucifroN. I don't feel like there's going to be enough. You can get the second wave of demos in, though. Splitting him now. Trying to rotate in. 1 demo might get deep enough, but it looks like the Archer ships do protect. Freon's moving a bit too far forward, though. Good demo here. Gets even deeper. Uh-oh.
Not a bad fight for LucifroN on the water. One of those Earthlift docks going to be going down here. The demos, though, are ready in retaliation for B. Several galleys, though, will snipe those out.
B's micro on these demos is questionable right now. He's clustering them together. Meanwhile, you saw what LucifroN done there. Like, this is the reason why people fear this guy on this map. The way he's slitting demos in these fights, even when he doesn't, look how deep he gets. Oh my god! It's never ending. It's legitimately never ending. He has 6 more demos on the way.
He wants to win the water.
I think he's gonna. There's no stopping this anymore.
It's too much of a snowball, yeah, for sure. Wow, LucifroN gonna get even more with this demo.
Fishing as well. Oh my god, he's pushed him all the way back. B, this is not the type of game he's ready to move away from water, but he's not going to have a choice. LucifroN still has all the springles ready. It's only 2 docks remaining for B, and the lead on water is too big to overcome. Oh, please, please.
For the fishing.
It's all free real estate. That's it. B's lost water. And he's now going for a second TC like he wanted, but this is going to take time. Time I don't think you necessarily have when you're trying to spam lances.
Yeah, the Mounted Samurai count is also, like, not that far behind, right? He's got plenty in queue. He's got the production speed from the floating gate. So I'm finding it difficult to see how B is going to gain an advantage at this stage of the game, right? It's not going to be militarily right now, right? It's not going to be on the sea. And LucifroN's leading ships already. Yeah,
to free up the space. The only thing that B's got left, he's got 2 demos rotating towards the fishing line now. So at least he can take some eco away. But if it was another Civ, I'd be like, thumbs up, great. It's the Japanese, though. You detonate their fishing boats, and you get nothing. So, like, he's going in the water now. He can probably get, like, 8 fishing boats in LucifroN's economy. B?
Yeah.
We might want to check on that. Those demos are waiting. On the water.
Oh.
Wait, are we... Wait, what? Okay, go back to land. I don't even want to talk about that right now. B goes in for the raid.
Details.
Knight's coming behind. He's trying to equal this up by finding villager kills. The problem right now is it going to be enough
That's
versus
a lot of
fishing?
kills.
Yes, a lot of lances though that you had.
Yeah.
They're all gone now. I don't think this was enough.
No. A lot of vills died, but
they did.
Yeah, that's not going to neutralize the water, and we also have the threat of naval trade, right? Like,
and those demos still haven't taken anything away. Like if he detonated when they were clumped up, maybe that's at least like, oh, nice. Now B's ahead by like 50 Nico. When I think it's like possible to find that, but it's almost like he's just forgotten about them. It's free TC. Jesus Christ. Has he got the food for this?
he has Hunt in the south still, and Berries in the north. So
okay.
Can someone afford it? Oh, looks like LucifroN noticed and demoed it with one of his demos. So.
All right, so no value at all there. And now we see him move across on the gold. LucifroN, this is Kushki stage. Look at what he's building. Mass Onabagisha, and this is problematic because the answer to Mass Onabagisha actually is Mass Pulse Guard. You need food for that.
Yeah, this seems tricky for B. LucifroN looking potent. Man, what I feel like he might be the best water player for high.
Well, it's him or Vortex, right? I think most players.
Yeah, you could argue either one, given the day, maybe, right?
The problem is you never get to see them going deep.
Impresses, yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like one of them GG's 8 minutes into a game whenever they play each other, right? So it's just like you never see the full-fledged Holy Island. This is death though. Like B has nothing to defend with. The Onabagisha spam's never gonna end. The good news is we are getting a game 3, and the good news is that filthy, disgusting Meditation Garden has lost. The nerfs are working. Woohoo!
Oh man, KB, you killed me. And there it is. The GG is called. We have a game 3 on our hands.
Woo! Interesting game there. You know, the early game looked pretty good for B, but once we kind of drilled it down into land and sea aggression, we saw exactly why LucifroN is considered the king of Holy Island, or definitely one of them. Japanese just a really good matchup on this map. I think genuinely they're at a point where they can even beat civs like HRE. I've even seen them do that. So, you know, whereas this map used to be dominated by China, HRE, and Rus, I think Rus has fallen off on this map entirely. And now I'd say Japanese has slotted in as either the first or second place best civ.
Yeah, and like that was even impressive because like the Shinobi honestly didn't get that much value. Yeah. And we saw the Meditation Gardens with pretty clear value, although I would almost argue that if he had sneakily gotten a TC up, I think that would have been maybe a better usage of the stone. Like I get the value of the arrow slits there for sure, but like I think the TC could have maybe propelled his game a lot more, right, and given him like an actual advantage. But yeah, it's tricky there. It looked like B had a lot of had it all going for him, and then those fights, like I think it just came down to the water micro, right, and that just kind of ended the game.
And I think that's why he put all the stone into arrow slits, by the way. I don't think B wanted to take that fight. I think B, you know, obviously you got to believe you're the best player in the game, but like different players have their advantages, right? And that is, I'd say, you know, if you're getting on Holy Island, the biggest advantage LucifroN has is directing your attention to loads of locations at once. So I like that B was trying to solve the puzzle by removing that. It's just unfortunate that the Japanese, another reason why I think they are the absolute bee's knees for that map is that they have the free stone from gathering gold, so they can get arrow slits as well. So like the amount of pressure you'd have to put on water to get them off is even higher. And realistically, what you have to remember about Civ is they're not paying anything extra, right? They drop one forge, they go gold, they gradually get stone. It's the same reason why we see the Japanese fast castle build so much, because all that gold gathering gets them enough stone for arrow slits. So they're much more defended than other civs that try to greedily rush Castle Age. But you know what? I ain't complaining. It gets us back to bridges for the second time today for game number 3. And look at this. I do not remember the last time I saw a Delhi French matchup.
I am so excited for this. I consider B kind of a Delhi specialist in some ways. I think he's an excellent player, super well-rounded, but like historically, his Delhi has been like really, really fun to watch, right? It brings just really exciting games, and I'm excited for some clowny stuff here. I think there's a reason this was his priority, right? He drafted Bridges as the map, and then he, as soon as it was available, he picked Delhi. First phase. That's what he wanted, and that's what he got, and now we get to see what he brings with it. I think there might be some preparation behind this, maybe some really interesting stuff we haven't seen before on this map. I can't wait. I just want to get into it.
Or we're going to have to wait a sec to get into it because it looks like the players are just going to stretch their legs for a minute before they get into
Yep.
game. So while they're doing that, we can actually check in on how everyone's doing across the day because, of course, we've got multiple series going on any given time. Means we can't quite cover everyone, but don't worry, some of us will fix that in the week. So Marine Lord, of course, look at that smug face, first place on the leaderboard. Just behind him, Puppy Paw got a 2-0 as well. We watched Louis earlier today beat Numidan 2-0. CSO, another really impressive player at the moment, Winston. You know, everyone was
Wow.
looking at Louis. I was highlighting like this is the guy to watch out of China. CSO was even able to beat his teammate in a recent smaller tournament. So no surprise that he's also proving dominant with the 2-0 performance.
Yeah, who did he beat?
Let me double
It was
check. So,
Demu.
what,
Wow.
dude? I'm telling you, man. I've got a big smile on my face. I'm a European. Actually, am I? People try to make comments about Brexit in response to that. I can already see it coming. You know, I'm a European. Let's be totally real. Hands up. There's no denying it. AoE4 is a Europe-dominated game. I am so happy we're getting some Asian representation because we already have some Americans in there. In fact, one of those Americans didn't do too bad today. He was able to get a game off of Vortex. That's really impressive out of Magic, considering that he's a part-timer compared to the full-timers here. But yeah, like really cool to actually see this plays. Recon versus Marine Lord being a 2-0, I'm not too surprised there. Recon's playstyle really doesn't mesh well with what Marine Lord does.
Yeah.
And I've talked with Recon at length on this as well. It's like I think there is subconsciously an element of like you're giving a lot of respect to the name because I always remember there was kind of a mini kind of hidden cup type thing going on from BC last year, and Recon performed really well against all the top players because he didn't know who he was up against. So I hope he finds his footing later in this. I think Numidan's still kind of that case of a question mark as well. But yeah, Demu getting 2-0 by CSO is probably the biggest surprise for me here.
Yeah, that's maybe an upset. I'm not exactly sure. Like you're saying, CSO's on the rise. I've seen him play before. I know he's a super talented player, so I don't want to just say it like that. So I'm not exactly sure. The rest of the standings kind of make sense to me how those played out. Um, yeah, Marine Lords 2 against Recon. Unfortunate for Recon there, but Marine Lord is going to be the favorite in any matchup in this bracket, I think, right? By
Yeah,
a bit. I mean,
it's playstyle logic
maybe
as well.
Vortex would be tricky, but
So
he's not
yeah,
going to play him. He's not going to play Vortex, right? So
I don't think
interesting.
so. No. So yeah,
Yeah,
Marine Lord.
clear
I'd say
path there.
like probably the person I'm predicting to take the top spot. The interesting thing about Marine Lord is he doesn't actually spend much time like playing pub lobbies like a lot of these players do. He
Mhm.
actually solely does scrim. So like if you look at his match history on AV4 World, you'll see him play one game in a day and then nothing else. And it's because he warms up in a pub game and then he goes into scrims with people like Recon. That's why I was saying like that was a tough matchup for Recon. Is Marine Lord and Recon especially they scrim a lot, and Marine Lord had like a 90% win rate. It's pretty bonkers how strong he was looking there. But you know what? Eyes back on the prize here. Game number 3 on the way to decide this. B struck early, but LucifroN struck back. It gets us here to one of Avali's creations. We're heading into Bridges for a showdown between the French and the Delhi. A matchup that I want to say historically, when we used to see it a lot, looked pretty strong for the Delhi.
Yeah, it felt like Delhi always had so many options. They could play really, really fast tempo and feudal as well, and just handle French. And it felt like that was the case for a really long time, right? To the point where we don't really see the matchup, right? Like you're saying. So excited to see it here. Wonder if LucifroN has a plan here. We saw him play Jeanne d'Arc earlier, and that was tricky for him. He didn't really have everything put together, right? The strategy just didn't quite line up. There were a couple key mistakes with the villager greed, and in a lot of ways, French plays pretty similar to how he played Jeanne d'Arc that game, right? Knight Archer, feudal pressure, try and get the map control. Um, so we'll see if he's able to kind of like square away B in this game. But I think B is going to be a lot more on the map. I don't think he's going to be turtling under his town centers like he did in the China game. So I'm going to be excited to see how he approaches this map. Like you said, like this is going to be so cool. This map is so interesting with the bridges. So
Yep.
we'll see how it goes.
And I think that leads into a strength for the Delhi because of your ability to easily wall off huge segments
Yep.
of the map, right? You just walk up to the bridge, you wall it off. Compare it to walling a sacred site, it's half the wood, right? So you're investing
Right.
less to do it, and you're actually getting more impact because let's say he moved where you're seeing LucifroN right now and walled that bridge. B would essentially secure the entire north side and play pocket resources. That's a big advantage because the whole point with French versus Delhi is typically both players want to play pocket resources. They want to be out on the berries, the deer. They don't want to have to worry about farm. So whoever gets the advantage there is usually favored to win it.
Yeah, playing the map, it's always that risk, right? Especially when you have two players both trying to play the map, it's usually a pretty fireworks game, right? Like one player's playing the map and the other plays the map, and then there's contest, right, over, access to the deer and the berries, right? The boar are pretty far away, so maybe Delhi is even happy with that, with how far the boar are, because they're not going to really take advantage of that, and they can just pressure if French goes all the way down there. So interesting stuff.
I wonder if we're going to see 2TC. The interesting thing to me is like LucifroN, he had John, right? Picking French as well. We mentioned why he might have leaned towards it. In a way, it's kind of a comfort pick. I think LucifroN quite a while ago was asked, what's his signature civ? And he said French. And I think if you asked him now, even though you might not see it as often as other civs because it's not full meta, he'd still lean into the idea that French is his. And for good reason, right? This guy, compared to his brother who gets an 11 on aggro, he's not the all-in, but he is the chip boy. He's the raider. And I think French probably embodies that idea better than any other civ in the game.
Right. And even with this map, like LucifroN's map is really, really solid. He's got 2 safe golds in the back, tons of access to berries, and the hunt even spawned in the back. So that TC could, if he goes second TC, that could be placed kind of in that back corner there, and that's going to feel really, really safe. Going to be very tricky for Delhi to pressure that early.
Pretty wallable spawn as well on the south side, especially with the tree lines, just letting you get a kind of cheap, efficient wall. Can turn it into a funnel point towards the center. Other side of it, B, berries. He did get a back spawn berries, but like, wait, where? It's kind of crazy how more loose his berry spawns are actually. Now that I'm looking at it, LucifroN essentially just got them all together on one screen. Oh, dude, could you imagine this as another Juji game with that spawn?
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Oh man.
Oh.
Or just any save, really. Or if Delhi was on the other side of the map, right?
Oh,
with
God.
triple berry, kind of like that.
Yep.
Be very, very comfortable.
And that's really important because this whole idea that both sides want aggro. So typically the openings here is going to be French go knights. One thing that I think is interesting about going French is whenever I want to see you being able to beat Delhi, I think number one box that you need to tick is, can you make them build something other than Ghazi on an opening? This is a civ that can do that. Right? Like another civ that does it actually surprisingly enough is Abbasids, because the military wing, you can't open Ghazi. And that's a good thing because you're stripping the momentum away from the Delhi. Instead, you're looking and saying, you need to react to my play. And considering this civ is all about taking over the game by 15 minutes, that's usually not a good sign for how they proceed.
Yeah, and you also have to wonder, how is B going to just deal with the Night Mass in the center? LucifroN looks like his timing is really, really solid here. Like, this is going to be tricky, I feel like.
Yeah, gold on the left side, and then you got the split with the berries on the right side, right? Like, it's kind of not ideal. And also that Scholar, for some reason, yeah, kind of helped him out, actually, highlighting he hadn't gone in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild. Okay.
Are we going to get TCs behind this, though? I don't think LucifroN can rush towards it. Maybe if he sees a lead by, like, 10 minutes, you look to go for a town center. But earlier than that, it feels kind of greedy.
I feel like he wants a range before he goes TCs, and that's going to slow it all down, right? I feel like he doesn't want to just let the spearmen run around this map, right?
Agreed. And the thing is, like, the longer you do this, the more spearmen that get invested in, the better the archer range play becomes, right? So, on top of that, we are getting blacksmiths. I feel like B is just trying to do everything he can to not reveal the next unit yet until he sees what his opponent is doing.
Yeah, trying not to commit to anything, right? Just not committing, I think, makes a lot of sense here. But we'll see the range coming down for LucifroN. This, I don't know why, but I'm scared for B already. I feel like I don't know why. I just got scared. Maybe upon seeing the map a little more, it's a little more open than I thought it would be for him. Which is why I was thinking that it'd be really cool to see Delhi on this map. But the more I see how his map spawned with the gold forward like that, and the berries are so exposed as well.
Yeah.
This is tight. This is hard to defend. And do all the Delhi things with the map control, right?
So, like, this is the thing with bridges that I've noticed is genuinely, like, if you want to play a long game, you need to secure the north side. Otherwise, you get starved. Like, it happens all the time. From gold to wood issues, like, both of them exist. Compared to Dry Arabia, like, I think this is very different with this versus Dry Arabia. Dry Arabia can spawn you a little bit more central along one of the axes of the map. So you have options. But when you look at this map, you don't really see clean options, do you? Right? You see go out, fall to your base, or go across these thin bridges that are very easily blockable.
Yeah. And how does B ever wall the south side of his map? Like, that's so far away. It's a wall, like, to the edge.
Spears, but, like, if the spears try to walk out and archers are there, it's kind of a GG moment, right? So, I like this got Ghazi coming, but look at the Knight lead already. We're up to 4, and this is still just going to remain 1 TC all in.
I could be wrong, but is that 1 tile too little for the keep?
Wait, what?
Not. I think on LucifroN's base. No, I think you did it right. I think I just looked at it too quickly.
Oh, for the castle age prep.
For the castle in the center of his base, yeah. For the keep inside of his base, right? Yeah. But I think I'm wrong about that. I'm guessing LucifroN did it right. Yeah, like this wall is what I was talking about. I feel like this is really, really expensive, but also really hard to just protect. Not just as it's going up, but afterward too, right? Like,
especially when you get freebies like that.
Yeah, I mean, it going up is one thing, but like, oh no, there's enough space. Okay, I was crazy. Yeah, LucifroN wouldn't make a mistake like that. Yeah, no, but like here, like now that the wall's up, largely, right? You still have to defend this huge area, right? It doesn't, like, the palisade doesn't stop the knights from torching, right?
It's not too bad against knights though, right? The logic being that if this was like a men-at-arms
slows
mass,
it down.
exactly, right? Like men-at-arms, the same cost would burn through twice as quickly. That's the thing I always think of there. That's why, like, if you think about it, what were walls really designed to counter, other than filthy chicken spammers? It was designed to counter cavalry more than anything else. Because, like, when you come in with knights early on, just idling there, just taking that much time to get through, it buys time to react, but it's also like, gee, I don't feel great about having to burn this wall with all these expensive units. They should have been doing more.
Yeah, the Ghazi Raiders getting a little bit of value as well. There's already 6 on the field. They're being pumped out rapid pace, but B is
he needs
going to those back berries. Yeah, he needs to figure something out. He needs to get something working for him. There's a small wall on the north side now for him. Is that built or placed?
No, he's going for it. This is what he's waiting for. Remember what we highlighted? Like, whoever secures this has longevity in the game. You will need to wall both sides, though, because you're up against knights. They can wrap around the back. This one is not going to fare well against the remaining Ghazi, though. That did, however, just delay the wall going up. So more spears on the way.
The archer mass is here, though, and the gold is exposed.
We've got, what, 3 scholars, no move out for sacred sites yet. That's the other reason that wall's important, because it allows B to get the northern sacred site with no risk.
Yeah, but, like, protecting that wall is still a large rotation, right? We'll see. At least it gives him time for the rotation, right?
LucifroN with a V for victory wall. I feel like I've seen him do this more than any other player. It's a very creative little wall and exposed golds. Unfortunately, he didn't complete it fully. So Ghazi are going to get in again. He's quick enough to pull away at least. I love the fact he just gets shivs out.
Dang. That was clean. That's clean. That was a good defense there.
I think my favorite part is, like, I always love to highlight this because, like, we have God Vision right now. There's people on berries and deer that he could have raided instead that aren't protected, right? But we see it. Unfortunately, because B didn't have the scout there, he was just out of vision. So he's kind of running blind.
The archer is returning home, interestingly. I guess LucifroN just giving a lot of respect there to the Ghazi mass potential, and the archer's now from Delhi. So we're on the 1-1-1 life for B. Do you think LucifroN ever needs to add spears in this matchup?
I've been liking French and John a lot more when they add spears, but the problem that I see is that you're doing it against Tower Victory. So if you start to drag it away from being cavalry focused for both and being infantry focused for both, you actually give a bigger advantage to the Delhi. It's kind of weird.
Right.
And also keep in mind, like, if he just keeps the status quo, he stops sacred sites from being capped, he just keeps killing things back and forth, he is building an economy lead, right? Like, that's the benefit of French compared to Jean. Like, Jean, it's all about the XP, but you sacrifice the production speed on your town centers.
And here's that mass from Delhi, right? We're up to a pretty big army. A lot of those are spearmen. So not going to be too threatened, I think, for LucifroN. I don't think he's too scared of this army just yet. But the production is still coming in, and he's just got way more happening. I feel like B's production capability is just there, right?
Well, that's the stupid thing about Delhi. This is the thing that frustrates people about it. The reason they're so effective at being oppressive, it's kind of like what we're seeing right now with the Japanese Castle Age. It's the production pacing. Dropping scholars inside these production buildings saves you building an extra one. Also saves you a little bit of resource overall, and it just gives you a stronger surge than other civs. But credit to him, Lucy. The most important thing for me in this matchup that you get right is the blacksmith timings, and he's done that. He's got the sealed arrow, he's got the undermesh, and he's basically just using these knights to bully the front line back and then pepper them with archers. And B, if you think about the amount of wood that he's burning and building walls and still not finding a way of stopping LucifroN, it's concerning from an eco exchange perspective.
Yeah, no, we see the full wall off here for B. And what his ambition is for walling this off. It does look tricky. Did he not get the sacred site in the north? Did it die?
No, he hasn't been to cap any of these.
No, I heard the sound.
I think it started and then maybe a knight came up, right? Because the wall, if you look near his bridge, the wall isn't up. So he hasn't actually secured that area of the map.
It's a lot of archers there. This is the classic French style. Big feudal age, but it's been really impressive that B's been able to keep LucifroN off of this hunt. Uh-oh. Speaking of
villagers,
this is not good. This is not good.
They've got textiles though, so they last a little bit longer, but still, this many Ghazi, he can pinch you, and he's gonna look to do it. The villagers get their shivs out. That doesn't work against 140 HP units like this though, so has to walk away. He's gonna end up losing, what, 3 villagers in the end? And a lot of idle time.
So many alive though.
It's textiles, man. Wait, he's got problems here though. These villagers
I lied.
Oh no! Okay,
and
so
his whole army is just slowly walking back for 10 Ghazis.
So this is the point where
we see the
barracks. Yeah.
And now we see the barracks. Remember when I said, "Hey, is he gonna build the barracks?" Yeah, no, it's tricky, right? Because you don't want to it should when you're playing French. It just feels so good to be able to do everything with Knight Archer, but B just really punishing him there for staying open, not walling the back, and not protecting it, not even building the tower. Right? You saw he wanted to, but prioritizing this massive archers over it. And now B's army. This is when. This is scary for LucifroN now. Now I think you have to respect the numbers here. 16 Ghazi can just... At this point, I think B could A-move into the army of LucifroN and win, right?
Yeah, that's what the Knights are back here. Like, the Knights... This many Knights will win. So the Ghazi have to be very careful. And I think that's what LucifroN was waiting for. Now he's going to get the wall up. What I would have loved to have seen, I thought he was going to shift the Knights to where the berry was, so he tried to, trick B to going in. Because he has a wall around the back of the wood line already. Archers are going to look to cut this off. This many can actually insta-kill the Ghazi. 1 down. 2. There's going to be, what, 4 dead? Nice move there by LucifroN. Expensive losses for B.
Yeah, and the scout goes down as well. And here comes the army, though. This is still a big army.
The Ghazi count isn't impressive anymore, though. You're talking about 13 Knights, right? Spears are also being added in. The Archer mass is the game breaker. Remember, B, with these Spears, with these Archers, he has an attack speed booster. That's what makes the Delhi so fierce at this point in the game.
He's cut off the army. We're about to have an engagement in the south here.
Nice. They could get a freebie, though, right now. The Archers are unguarded, but LucifroN a little bit slow to react, doesn't get the charge out. He's worried about this Ghazi. Archer's starting to dive in. Getting baited deep. Great micro there. B, he pulls him into the main formation. Nice. I'll try and extract value on the backside of this, but this is tricky. B has the numerical advantage. He also has the better quality units when it comes to infantry. These Knights need to hit hard for LucifroN. They look to do that. Archer's taking out the Spears, and the Knights are in on top of green. A good fight here for LucifroN, and B, he can't run away anymore. He has to stand and fight, but this is going to cost him. Archer's
no more Spears.
This is the problem. A few Knights is all we need. The Ghazi count is way too low. B, the best thing you can do here is stutter step and shoot, right? Just kill as many units as you can, because at the end of the day, if you just try to turn this into a full retreat, you're going to die anyway. So does at least stutter step away while trying to get into a few more troops. The problem right now is that B's food income is not good enough to just vomit out a new line of Spears.
Yeah, that was... It's a really interesting engagement, but I kind of wonder if B likes it, because LucifroN has been very slowly building up the Knight numbers without losing very many, and he finally got that number traded down. And as we approach potentially large enough economies to threaten quick Castle Age timings behind this, it's nice to know that there aren't 20 Knights, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, like you're saying, B's economy doesn't seem like it's perfectly set up. He's slurped up the berries on the right side of his map, and now I think his only food is north if he goes up there, or into the middle of the map. Those are his options for food.
But this is the thing. It might be a good timing because that night count going down. Because the thing, if B wants to turn this into like, okay, it was good losing all those Ghazi, it's sacred sites, right? Sacred sites in the feed you talked about. And the night count being low, that could be great. But the thing that scares me, we saw the little pluses. LucifroN now has got Chivalry. So anytime you don't kill these guys, that tickling gets offset. And it's going to be another charge in.
Yeah, B got a little greedy. He went north. He went all the way to the south, and showed himself on the outpost with the archer mass, and here comes LucifroN with a really solid micro to try and keep these knights alive.
It's not working.
A lot of damage.
B, quite well done to just get a few knights out of that. LucifroN, I think the problem is like you're trying to rush to make this timing happen, right? So it means your archers are never in position. So B, funnily enough, can kind of stand and fight. If he has about 50 archers, he can somewhat trade against knights, especially when LucifroN doesn't have a high enough count. But I think what now it becomes is this awkward issue of food. We've seen B access more, but all he's doing with it is massing archers. It's like he's playing a discount Chuga noobs, right?
Yeah, this is... Yeah, with no supporting units, the archers are just going to get ripped apart here, right? Like...
Yeah, the number's getting too low. Like, this is the problem right now. Like, once you get below, like, 30, you don't actually have enough kill power to take down the knights fast enough. And then the archers, which are admittedly worse, but are higher in number, start to take over. So the other thing that I have been impressed with is the fact that B did minimize the eco situation from that Ghazi raid earlier. If it wasn't for that detail, this game would kind of already be over, right? Because you just couldn't keep up. But that's the reason why B isn't out of this, and he knows that he still has a shot, is he has now got a Sacred Site locked in. He can still play for the center one, and that means he'll have an economical advantage over the French.
Yeah, I mean, he's also should be pretty confident because his raids earlier were really, really big, right? Like, those give you some... When you know you've killed several French vills and you've neutralized their advantage in a long feudal game, it feels great.
Oh, this is ugly, though. This fight, the way that LucifroN caught him there around the tree line. And the lead is just building. It's kind of weird because, like, anyone who loves their French knights too much would think that this is a loss because of how many are dying. But all I'm seeing is worse units winning out because their numbers are building, right? And what I mean by that is the archers. Look how big the archer advantage is in these engagements.
Yeah, B's actually running out of wood. He's gone to the middle wood line. This is interesting.
Did he fully wall off the north side in the end? I can't remember the bridge. He did actually. Yeah. So that's really important because one knight could go up there and ruin your day. That's why it's going to be fine. Remember what I said, like if the game goes past 25 minutes, you start to look to that northern island. My question is whether we reach 25 minutes at this pacing.
Yeah, see, the Castle Age... So you just said Castle Age 25 minutes?
I don't feel like either player can go castle here. Like, LucifroN's leads would be thrown away, and B would take too long. Like, you never want to have a situation where your army has to be upgraded with Delhi, right? Like, if it's 20 units, sure, but we're talking 50.
Yeah, this is an interesting situation to be in. Now trying to secure a second boar, I don't know. The last one he lost some bills on. We'll see if B catches wind of this and raids that later.
Could be good for B, because he's adding Ghazi in again, right? So he's about to play flank. And I think LucifroN, like, his play makes sense because he's only seen archers for the last 2 engagements. He probably feels like B just doesn't have food. So this sneaky move back into Cav could actually build a lead for the Delhi. It's all about timings and positioning.
Yeah,
right now.
LucifroN's archer mass is so large, though. We're hitting that critical break point pretty soon where French is just going to suddenly be popped, I think, on, like, 80 archers, like Marine Lord style. Like, he's just going to be 200 pop in a couple minutes, right? Like, because like his economy is just scaling and scaling and scaling. We might be seeing more production buildings pretty soon from him, and then the situation gets really nice.
Do we have siege engineering for LucifroN? So I'm feeling like one ram could do a lot here. Just open the passes, give you options right now. Because, like, obviously we can see this 14 Ghazi is bad, but from his perspective, he's only seen archers. So yeah, no siege engineering. Would have been an interesting play just to try and give him options because these Delhi walls are basically leading to him just standing there staring at the army, right?
Yeah.
Love a little wall in there.
I mean, it keeps everything safe, right? You just get a little more time to react. You can build a gate on the side they're not attacking, stuff like that.
It sucks against Mass Archer, but I think it's in reaction to the Ghazi coming out again. So now it's like, oh, B wants to peel and do that. You can already see he's actually running over there now. Ambitious Knights. All right, yep, they're Optimus priming it. Turns out, just like him, they couldn't win that fight. And there's a tech up coming now from LucifroN.
Yeah, interesting. Rather than trying to pop out, he just wants to go up really, really quickly here. So he wants to upgrade the archers. I think it's really smart. I think it would beat everything, right? Like, there's no way for the Ghazi to hold against that many vet archers.
Lucy, ooh, he might be able to sneak out most of the villagers here. He's left 2 behind. So B, he'll kill 2 eco, but that's the lead LucifroN have rebuilt, right? And now we're talking about an age lead. And B, what worries me is his positioning isn't dominant right now. He's sitting defending his base. This tech up is clearly shocked to him. She got a wall in here. Love how he's just kind of constricting it a bit. B has to match this now, but these archers, he only has 5 scholars. It's going to take, what, 2.5 minutes to upgrade those, I think?
Yeah, he's going to have to tech not with Goldavils and age with, like, food or wood, which is going to slow down the mass. But I think it's okay. I think he just needs to get the age up coming in.
That's on the way. Ghazi rotating in the meantime. And Cantle Saddles on the way alongside the veterancy of the archers also has the level 2 ranged armor. This is actually a very big advantage. Also have to remember those knights do just get a +1 attack by default. And Lucy, I'm actually adding more spearmen in.
Yeah. Compound, 29 vills building a compound. That is...
We must have farms now for LucifroN, right? Last time we looked, I think he had 5. I imagine he's up to like 12 now. Because you're running out of food.
More on the left, yeah. Well, he got the boar, so maybe he was hoping that would delay the farms even more. But yeah, the slow build up here with 1 TC builds. It's really hard to afford the farm transition on 1 TC.
I do always love when players realize this. They're like burning a wall, like, wait, why am I doing this? It's only like 2 meters long.
Around. Oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's why I don't go
like
around. Well, he has the veterancy, actually. It's not terrible. Knights hitting the backside. They're going to absorb a lot of fire. B, he doesn't have the upgrades yet. Oh, my God. He's going to lose the entire army to this. B, the lovely thing he's doing is at least trading archer for archer right now, but that means nothing's dealing with the knights.
Wow.
This is
Absolute cleanup.
What an assault. LucifroN, with the predatory instinct, understand that B was weak, that he would have to defend against this dive. A wipe of the army and a wipe from the smirk of every filthy deli picker ever. Looks like Lucy's going to get the 3rd.
Jeez. That was one hell of a fight. At first, I didn't think it was good. I was like, oh, that's a lot of units behind. But, man, those knights just absolutely cleaned house. It was very impressive. Very, very impressive from LucifroN. And that's probably the game, right? Like,
it has
not
to be.
not seeing how he's going to be able to hold on. The raids coming in. LucifroN's so expert at this stage of the game, right? He's in control. Knights are going to start splitting up, finding everything, and B recognizes that and taps out.
What a timing attack there. Love the fact that he waited for the veterancy as well as the range to upgrade. Those archers, you know they can't match. This is the weakness of when you kind of get forced to go cast laser after your opponent with the deli, is in that situation being reactionary, having 60, 70 plus military. Usually your best option is to go in for a trade, but no opportunity to do so. That's what I loved about LucifroN's approach. He took the standardized, known, accepted fact, shall we say, of being greedy, of teching up. You back up, you defend. There was no option for a fight available to B, and at that point, I think he felt the writing was on the wall. He was just gambling on LucifroN not sensing that timing, but we know Lucy, he's never one to look a gift horse in the mouth. You can see the plummet there, courtesy of those horses, butchering that army. Means Lucy does win the series 2-1. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely impressive.
What a cool
Absolutely
series.
Impressive. So cool. So cool.
I think for me, like the interesting thing is like we haven't seen that matchup in a long time. I don't feel like it's always meant to go that way. But what I loved is the way that LucifroN never let the deli get what should be a perceived edge on that map around the bridge breakups where they can wall them in. It just never felt like he was able to find the timing, right? Like he sent a spearman up. There was a knight there to block him out. He tried to cap with a scholar on the North Island. Another knight shows up, pushes him away. Just LucifroN, the game sense was insane in this one. Well played by him.